Quick video here before I take off and do some stuff for today. Just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Obviously, a lot of my background was bodybuilding. That's what got me into fitness, even as a teen. Back then, town of 500 people, you really don't have a lot of information, no internet, nothing like that. As if the internet can be a tool, but I'm almost glad I didn't have it because of all the misinformation and bullshit that's thrown in young people's heads anymore. That, I don't know, it's way too much information that humans weren't meant to take on. That's why these kids have so much fucking anxiety at their age. On top of shit diets, everybody's just kind of gone to processed crap. But I remember reading a lot of stuff about eating, no eating sugars and junk foods and stuff like that. And there was years in high school I didn't touch a soda or a candy bar and anything just because that's what I cared about. And then through my life I've dug deeper and deeper and deeper. And then for us to, example, be the best we can be, we have to be firing on all 8 cylinders. A lot of, even as bodybuilders, if we're not all together mentally, it's going to throw us off course. Emotional issues, relationship issues, depressions, anxieties, things like that. So, and that's all done, like the majority of that can be all done through your diet. The majority of issues people have nowadays is almost always diet based or lack of activity. Obviously, like brain function, that's one thing I can touch on now just because I've been working with myself with the ADHD and too much exposure. And that's why I've never really been a music listener. Music becomes noise to me and it starts irritating me. And it's just noise in my head and I can't think about anything else. And that's that's always been a different thing about me. Most people blare music all day long. I can't. I in the car, I never listen to the radio. At the gym, if I'm alone, I'll turn the music down and put earplugs in. I have to wear blue light reflective glasses because all the LED lights now cause like serious irritation trying to always have that glare. I even have hypersensitivity. If anybody ever paid attention, I don't wear tight clothes. I always have loose clothes. And then through my diet, for example, with that, it's a lot of times keyed into dopamine deficiency, obviously. And 2 big key factors of that is the dopamine receptors taking dopamine up into the brain and everything faster than your body can put it out, which is can be both diet controlled for the most part. Other than the fact that in today's day and age, with all the technology and lights and noises and everything, human beings for hundreds of thousands of years didn't have all that. It's just the last few years. So it's completely, it's faster than we can adapt. This shit just keeps going on. That's why we're seeing such a high issue with some of these things. So I do the best I can with my diet. And then like right now I'm on a low dose of Wellbutrin and I came off all these goddamn SSRIs that have been honestly just kind of toxically hurting me my whole life. There was one that had norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor in it. That's the only one that worked for me, which is a huge key that it wasn't serotonin that was the issue because none of the other ones worked. And they would give me really high doses of this and I would feel a little better in some senses, letting things kind of roll off my back. But I would just, I don't know, I've always felt exhausted and tired and lack of motivation. I'm coming off of that and substituting things in my diet to help with that. And then because I found of the dopamine deficiency, I can just simply eat more foods rich in B6 and tyrosine. Tyrosine directly converts to dopamine, and the B6 is a dopamine antagonist, which stops the brain from sucking it up so fast, which lets it build up a bit in the body, and your body has a surplus of it to use. So then, with medications, you can take low amounts and get a lot better results from it, rather than just be medicated and to the hilt and then sick as shit from your diet. You know, then so in a lot of the foods out there that are rich, I mean, this isn't a coincidence. Like people used to just literally everything that grew or an animal that they killed, that's what they eat. It was just fresh, whole foods. That's it. That's what we're meant to eat. Not processed grains and sugars and salt and fucking dairy. There's certain things that, you know, once you learn, like certain little aspects of dairy, if you put a little bit of fat-free cheese in something or something like that, or low-fat cheese or some goat cheese, there's ways that can be a little, but it's a moderation of that even. But the way that in the milk, the only way that we are meant to have that, or we aren't, cows are, but any animal, if it's right off the tit. By taking the bacterias out of it, reducing the fat, throwing sugar water in it, and so it can stay on the shelf for a while. You're basically creating a huge, basically poison, because inflammation's the root of almost all evil in our body, and all this shit that people are eating causes tons of inflammations, and it causes tons of mind issues and body issues. It's not the cholesterols originally that cause the arteries to plug. It's the inflammation of the arteries that the LDL has to try to fix. And then from your shit diet, not having good enough HDL, that's when you get issues. There's no such thing as bad cholesterol. It's all needed. So, but back to, like, for example, for an example, I eat a lot of, like, 3 or 4 avocados a day. I'm not a big fan of bananas, but because they're rich in tyrosine and B6, I eat some, you know, and just in place of some of my carbohydrates. That's what my diet is. The key to all healthy living and everything is in diet. That's what we eat. Even drugs, niacin. It's niacin, you know. So just basically taking in a higher level of niacin can raise your HDL 20, 30 points just for that. And the FDA wants us to eat their processed fucking garbage. Look at the food pyramid that they used to tell us, that you eat all these grains and then dairy and low fats and all this bullshit. No, you should be eating tons of avocados, olive oil, almond butter, shit like that. That's all got hypocholesterologenics in it. There are phytochemicals that are in it that lower HDL. There's fatty acids in it that raise HDL. And these grains cause huge inflammations in our body. There's no nutritional value to it. Some of the whole, you know, like some things like the sprouted grains, things of that nature, but the highly processed, just like wheat flour with a ton of gluten thrown in it and stuff, we're just creating poison for our body. So, and it's not a coincidence that most foods like salmon, avocados, bananas, things like that are really high in tyrosine are also high in B6. You got to really think about it. That's not a coincidence, okay? That's the way nature intended it, okay? Another issue, like there's a girl I work with, one of the few people from like the general public that I kept. She works really hard, is very excited to be with me at all times. If we can't train together, she's bummed. Her diet has gotten really good. but she had this fear of fats and, proteins and like all this shit that's placed on girls, the public, for example. So, but she used to, her body has changed drastically. All her little muscles are rock hard, body shaping very nicely, body fat's dropping. She's actually just thrilled because everywhere she goes, people are telling her how amazing she looks, which is feeding the fuel to go better. She eats tons of berries and fruits and vegetables and things like that. What I had to get on her about was a little bit of more fats, more protein. But anyway, she had high blood pressure, high blood sugars, and low HDL, high LDL a year ago. She finally went in and got some new blood work. Her HDL was way up, blood pressure was good, sugars had dropped, but she was concerned the LDL didn't change a whole lot, and she wanted the blood sugars to come down more. Well, the thing is, the low fat and the low protein diet, like she's eating all her fruits and berries and things like that, just by themselves. You should never eat carbohydrates all by themselves unless you have low blood sugars and you just need to bring them up quick. Like in the middle of working out, blood sugars drop, I'll have an apple or something. But besides that, there should always be healthy fats and proteins mixed in with it. Slows the rate it goes into the bloodstream. All carbs turn into sugars. It slows the rate where it trickles in the bloodstream, and it helps carry the hormonal response helps carry these other nutrients into the body. Through that, you don't have as much conversion of the LDL because your blood sugars aren't going up too high, and you're not converting any of the fats, and that's our body creates a lot of LDL out of that, and then that's going to give the insulin receptors a little more of a break and help them become more efficient. Okay, it becomes more efficient, and then you're going to have lower blood sugars on average. It takes time to fix years of shit eating, but through that now, through her training and diet, we have fixed all that other than these two things, and now we're going to focus on that. That'll get better, and she's going to be unbelievably healthy. By the time she turns 40 years old, she's going to look better than she ever has and be healthier than she ever has. That's where I go back to, we can't be bodybuilders when we're unhealthy eating all this fucking shit food. It will catch up, and if your body's not running on all eight cylinders, it can't be as efficient as it can be. You want to be mentally sound. You want to be physically very healthy. Then your body can put all the efforts it needs, and it has all the tools it needs to be anabolic. There's more to it than just protein and carbs and fucking hormones, So that's why through my system, and that's mine. Everybody's welcome to do whatever they want. But people that work with me, the majority of your carbohydrates are, they're, if you're not good with, I'm sorry, somebody, I will have to move on to a different coach. Because, if I give a food list to somebody and I allow some rice and some sweet potatoes, especially with like bodybuilders and athletes, because they're eating a lot of whole foods, but because of their muscle mass or activity, they literally just are burning carbohydrates like crazy. So if, somebody, let's say example, it's a larger bodybuilder, if he's getting 30-40% of his carbs from sweet potatoes and rice, but the rest from vegetables and berries and everything else, that's fine, Whereas somebody, they come back and so then you look and their meals, it's all rice, sweet potato, things like that. And I don't like vegetables, or, you got to learn to cook this stuff so you like it. And a lot of it is people just literally have never learned to cook with these things. And by doing that, just by learning some cooking things and some tricks and like how to make things so you like it, and changing your palate simply from being trained with a bunch of man-made like salts and spices and sugars and things like that, you're changing your palate to foods that your body learns that taste gives it nutrients, and it doesn't tell you to bulk eat anymore. Like when you eat shit food, you get a little dopamine rush into the brain. Eventually, you become deficient. It doesn't work as well. But then it's like, where's the nutrients? Because it's designed to, like humans that used to come across a tree with fruit on it or some berries, and they would taste that sweet taste, and your body knew, oh, and that dopamine burst tells you to eat more of this because it's nutrient dense. And then your body's like, there's no antioxidants, there's no vitamins, minerals, there's no nutrients in this shit whatsoever. You could be full out to here, and as soon as you have any room in your stomach, it's going to say eat again, and it just turns into this bad situation. And that furthers mental health issues, food addictions, and I just my athletes and myself, we don't need to deal with that crap. That is going to hold you back from everything. This is about being advanced, about being healthy, advanced human beings. So I hope I had covered some stuff there that might help some people in maybe mindset or whatnot, or any questions they'd have about some of the reasons I do the things I do. And I hope it helps some people. Even, my friends that happen to follow along out of curiosity or whatnot out of these videos, I find it kind of therapeutic to be able to talk about, because it's stuff I see going on every day, and it kind of messes with me. And it's nice to get it out, and then, if some people have simple questions, they can revert to some of my videos, and, oh, okay, that makes sense. So, but I got to run some errands and do a little grocery shopping, and I'll touch base with another video soon.